Hi again, Raisa, Shafira, Affandi here. In this module, we're exploring the shape of poetry. We'll see how form, line breaks, and structure create meaning. Let's jump in. Our learning objectives for this module are 1. To gain an understanding of poetry form and its elements, specifically those to do with visual elements and sentence structure. 2. To develop sensitivity to how the elements of form shape the reading experience. So, what is the shape of poetry? Poetry, when printed or written on a page or screen, can be a visual art form as well. You can think about the appearance of a poem, the elements surrounding it, like its title or author name, sentence arrangement, how the sentences are arranged into the poem's shape, and grammar. Is it correct, or does it purposefully slip up? So here are some questions you can ask yourself about the poem's appearance. Is each line the same length? What about each stanza? What shapes do you notice? Are there places where words are crowded together? Are there places where they are far apart? What is the font? Are there italics? Does it use capital letters? Is the poem accompanied by artwork or photography? How does it affect the poem? So here are some examples of poems that you can think about in terms of appearance. In the poem on the left, Seventh Circle of Earth, you can see that most of the poem is in footnotes, and a large part of the page is blank. Does that change how you read the poem? How does that affect how it makes you feel? Perhaps you notice this first before its words. And does it make the poem's theme of queer people's erasure stronger? Meanwhile, the poem on the right, Easter Wings, has stanzas which are shaped like wings, just like the poem's title. Does that have an effect on you as well? Do you perhaps feel the Easter wings as a visual form before absorbing the words? Now, here are some questions you can think about regarding title and signature. Does the poem have a title? What about an author's signature? Is it included? Is the title before or after the poem's contents? Is the content of the title also in the poem, or does it not appear? So, what is the effect of the title? For example, in Rupi Kaur's poem Sisters, the title comes at the end, but in Mary Oliver's Praying, the title comes first. Does that affect how you perceive the poem when first reading it? Think about our poetic timeline module from before. How does it affect the order of images that appear in your mind when reading? Perhaps Rupi Kaur's title comes as a conclusion to the poem. We're realizing that she's talking about sisters, whereas Mary Oliver's title is an introduction to a topic to be explored and defined in different ways. She doesn't even mention the word praying within the poem, only in the title. How does that affect how the poem affects you? Next, we can also think about sentence arrangement as part of shape. So, how are sentences arranged within the poem structure? Does each line have a complete sentence? Does it always use correct grammar? You can also think about enjambment, which is the continuation of a sentence without a pause beyond the end of a line, couplet, or stanza. How does the structure a sentence is arranged into in a poem affect how you read it? Let's look at some examples. The poem Love Maybe by Audre Lorde on the left uses incorrect grammar in the form of to conqueror me home instead of to conquer me home. Now, what are the effects of that? There's no right or wrong answer. Perhaps it could be just as simple as drawing more attention to the word, just like how the word is in its own line and stanza, separate from the others. Meanwhile, in the poem Wait by Adrienne Rich, there seems to be a separate sentence in italics. In paradise, every third thought is of earth, And there's another sentence in between it. The desert wind is rising. In hell there are no thoughts. Sand screams against your government. So what are the effects of that for you? Does it cut off your train of thought to go, in paradise the desert wind is rising. Third thought, in hell there are no thoughts, is of earth. So you can think about how that affects how you read it. Now, here are some examples of enjambment. Here in the poem on the left, let the field turn mellow, let the time be rested is separated by line breaks. So it's one sentence, one phrase, but separated into multiple lines. The same happens in Telemachus. I pull my father out of the water, drag him by his hair through white sand, because the city beyond the shore is no longer where we left it. Now, how does that affect how you read the poem? Are you maybe encouraged to take teeny tiny pauses in the middle of those sentences? I pull my father out of the water, drag him by his hair through white sand. Does it make you read it a little bit like that? Those are some things that you can think about. So let's review what we've learned. You can think about poetry as a visual form in addition to a literary form. Think about its appearance, shapes, blank spaces, font, lines, and stanzas. Think about its title. Where is it in relation to the poem? Does it affect the poem? And think about how its sentences are arranged. Does it use enjambment? Does it use correct grammar? That's the end of this module. Remember, in poetry, shape is never just decoration. See you in the next session.